For more analysis on this, let's bring in Shaina Low, who is the Communications Advisor for the Norwegian Refugee Council, and she joins us live now from Amman. Shaina, welcome. So 90% of the population in Gaza unable to access safe drinking water. This, of course, in the height of summer. What are people drinking?
People are drinking whatever they can find and get their hands on. I just spoke about an hour or two ago to one of my colleagues in Gaza. A couple of weeks ago, she told me she thought she had food poisoning. It turns out it was actually the water that was in our office making our staff sick because there's so little access to clean water, not only for our staff, but of course for people throughout Gaza. The situation is compounded by a dramatic shortage of fuel. And so desalination plants aren't able to operate at full capacity. Water wells and pumps aren't able to operate at full capacity. Water trucks have difficulty bringing water from place to places where people are in desperate need. I just spoke to another colleague in Gaza a few minutes ago who told me that only about 25% of the fuel needed to run water, sanitation, and hygiene systems is currently available for operating. So you can imagine just how desperate people are. My colleagues are describing people in the streets fighting over small amounts of water, struggling to get enough for themselves and their families. Of course, this leads to dire health implications, both from the thirst and dehydration, but also from the fact that many are being forced to drink contaminated water, which will lead to further illness, and their bodies already weakened by starvation are oftentimes not able to resist or fight back against these diseases as a healthy person would be able to.
Because, Shaina, one might imagine that even if people do manage to get to one of the, as we know, deadly aid sites to collect some flour, some beans, they're unable to cook if they don't have any water.
Of course, they're not able to cook without any water. They're getting non-perishable foods, dried goods, things that require clean water to cook. And so people are desperate. They don't have enough. And it's not just about having water to cook the food. It's also about fuel to cook the food. Not a single canister of cooking gas has entered Gaza since before March 2nd. So now people are salvaging whatever they can, trying to find firewood or burn whatever they can find in order to cook meals if they're able to find food and water to prepare them.
And what kind of diseases are at risk of spreading as a result of having very little access to any clean water, especially when people are living in tents, they're living in communal situations? I mean, what kind of illnesses are really at risk of affecting people here?
Well, of course, we're already seeing stomach illnesses, diarrhea, issues like that. But we also saw earlier on in this, in the last 22 months, polio, and the fact that polio was found and was spreading. And so there's a wide range of disease and illness, from just what would bring someone ordinary discomfort, a stomach ache, to people having life-changing illnesses, interacting with getting life-changing illnesses as a result of this. And so the situation is, of course, incredibly dire. And we also have to remember that hospitals and Gaza's health system has completely collapsed. And so even people who should be able to get treatment will struggle to find medicine, will struggle to find treatment, will struggle to find any type of care, because the situation is so dire, which is why we desperately need the opening of all of the crossings, a flooding of aid, so that people can prevent these illnesses and begin the road to recovery.
Shaina Low, Communications Advisor for the Norwegian Refugee Council, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.